Hey guys, I thought I'd take a little bit of time to share a few things with you since my wife is getting her hair all done. I'm not really sure how to say that, but she's doing something with her hair. And it's always a great time to find something else to do. So, I'm here talking to you. And it's a Saturday, and it's about 1:30 in the afternoon. And I am famished. And the reason why I'm so hungry is because I worked out a little too hard. Now, I'm an intermittent faster, which means I have a window of eating, and then beyond that, I don't eat until the next day. Like I go 16 hours without eating, and then I have an 8-hour window. So I stop eating about 10 o'clock at night and don't eat again until about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And it works really good for me. My health is a lot better. It keeps my weight down. It keeps my weight steady. And it keeps me from having a swollen belly, and it really kind of helps me to curb my eating. I don't want to talk about intermittent fasting too much, but that's what that is. I mean, you have a window of eating, and you have a window in which you don't eat. And your window in which you don't eat is longer. But here's the thing. I worked out too hard this morning, way too hard. And I work out about 5 days a week, and now I'm spent. And so I had to cheat a little bit. I'm really flexible with my fasting. So there's a little bit of give and take, and that's what I like about intermittent fasting. I've been doing it for a long time. But I have to be a little bit flexible with having a family and to keep up with social activities and stuff like that. But, man, I had to grab a few small candy bars that my wife had put in my Christmas stocking. Not candy bars, but just, bite size. That's probably the wrong thing to eat, but I wasn't going to get anything else for a while. So, anyway, that's where I'm at this morning. I'm wearing my St. Augustine hat. St. Augustine hat and my Property of St. Augustine t-shirt. I got this in St. Augustine, as you probably can guess. I don't know if you've ever been there. Of course, I live in Florida. I live in Central Florida, in Lakeland, Florida, specifically. Lakeland sits halfway between Tampa and Orlando. It's a great town to live in. And if you ever make it to Florida, you really should come by and see Lakeland. It's a pretty city, and it's not too big, and it's not too small. But if you do make it to Florida and you really want to see a great city and spend some time in, go to St. Augustine. Especially at this time of the year, there's so many Christmas lights up, and it lasts through most of January. It's just a beautiful place. It's the oldest city in America, and so there's a lot to see, a lot to do. Great restaurants, great bars, you name it. It's just a really fun place to go. And if you go there, stay overnight in a bed and breakfast because they have some great ones there. My wife and I did that last year. About 11 months ago. We went to a wedding up there. It was so much fun. But make it to St. Augustine if you can. And you have to see the lighthouse if you go up there. And the lighthouse has been on Ghost Hunters. If you've ever watched it, it's a haunted lighthouse. And that's where I got the cap and the shirt. And it's just a great place to visit. But anyway, if you're wondering what I put in my beard today, because I get a lot of questions about what I'm using, what I do, how I trim it, what products I'm using, and but today, I have a lot of different beard oils, and guys who have beards, we all use. With the exception of a couple people, most guys use a lot of different kinds of beard oils, and today I've decided to use. I don't know if you can see it or not. Yeah, there you go. Olivina. It's called Shave Prep and Beard Oil. You can find it at Target. I'm not promoting it necessarily. I'm just telling you what I'm using. And it's a thicker kind of oil, and it smells really good. Has a lemony type smell to it. And did I say it was thicker? Because that's what I meant to say. It's a thicker oil. And let me put this down. And I will say it's not the best beard oil, but it is good, and it's very good. But on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd put Olivina beard oil about 7. So it's worth having in your beard oil arsenal because it smells great. It smells so good, but it's just not the greatest, but it's still really good. And so it's easy to get. I got it at Target using my Artiest Man beard brush. The light's kind of doing weird things to me. I'm half in the shade and half in the sun. Brush it out. So yeah, there you go. Now it's looking decent. What if I take my hat off and get better light? Maybe I'll do that for a little bit. But anyway, my wife and I were walking through the store the other night. I know it sounds like my last video, but it's not. We were in Publix. Publix is a grocery store chain in the Southeast. I wouldn't be surprised if eventually it makes it nationwide. I don't know what their plans are, but it's if you shop at Publix, you'll never want to shop into the grocery store. But anyway, we were walking through Publix, and we were in the section where you find the things, not the edibles, but like you the hygiene products and whatnot. And so we got to the end of the aisle, and she said, "Oh wait, I gotta stop and look at something." So she turned and she picked up a pregnancy test kit. No. And I told her, I said, look, and as it turns out, she was just kidding with me. I'm 48, she's 42. And I told her, I said, you had better be cheating on me if you're pregnant. Because that'll be an easy fix. That'll be an easy fix. But man, and I'm so glad. Can you imagine having, a lot of people do. She has a friend who knows somebody who's 50 years old and just had a child. I wouldn't want that. Anyway, I do have a little bit of something I want to share with you. And that is, and I'm not going to do a book review on this right now, but I will eventually. It's called The Man from the Train, written by Bill James and his daughter, Rachel McCarthy James. It's about a serial killer about 100 years ago. And I'm not going to talk about a whole lot right now because I do want to do a book review on it. But he said something in this book that I want to share with you. And it has to do with the subject of experience. All right? And this is why, if you hear that's a garbage truck. This is why I want to, I was going to tell you guys, I was going to talk about the myth of experience. Now, that's not what he calls it in here, but in this book, it's on page 347. And here's what he says. Here's something I thought was very thought-provoking. And I'm not going to even give you the context because it's almost a standalone passage. Here's what he says. In many ways, experience is the worst teacher. In many ways, experience is the only real teacher, yes, but in certain situations, experience will teach us to believe that something is not true. Experience teaches people to believe that the earth is flat. Experience teaches people to believe that their house will not flood because the house has been there for 120 years, has never flooded before. Experience teaches people to believe sometimes that what is usually true must always be true. Now, in this, he was talking about detectives and the mistakes they make. But he's got a good point. Because you have a lot of people, especially people of age, who like to say, you don't understand, I have experience. I have experience as to take the high ground on knowledge. And it's just not it's just not as worth as much as you might think. Now, experience is worth something, and it's necessary, and you're going to get it whether you like it or not. You're going to get experience. But there's something to be said about wisdom gained by study and observation, by deliberate application. There's something to say about that. I like his point here because experience, what he's saying here is that experience only comes down to the sum total of all the time that someone has spent here, all the accumulated. How am I going to word this right? Forgive me if I'm mucking this up, but it's the sum total of experiences up until that time. They can only tell you what they know based on what they have gone through up until that point. And they're not going to, you can know things beyond your experience. See, I think the true definition of wisdom is not live and learn. I think the true definition of wisdom is learn and live. Have you ever heard the story about the man who built his house upon a rock and the man who built his house upon sand? The rains came, the winds blew, and the house that was built upon sand crumbled. But the house that was built upon rock continued to stand. It was steady because it had a good foundation. And I think that's why it's important to, and I've stressed this many times, dig your nose into good books, let's talk to people, make friends with older people who've had experiences that you don't. I made a video a while back on coffee conversations with good old friends. And I have 3 friends who are in their 70s and 80s, and I love talking to them. They've experienced life in ways I have not yet. Perhaps I never will, but if I live long enough, I probably will. But they've experienced things, and I can glean from their experiences. They're not mine, but I can still gain wisdom from them. It's good to read good books. I used to not ever read fiction because I didn't think it was worth anything. My opinion used to be, well, it's not real. It didn't happen. I am of a different mindset now. I think I actually learn more about life through fiction, good writers, than I do through historical accounts. You can learn from pretty much of any of those, but the thing about fiction is it's intimate, and it gets inside the heads of the characters, and you really know what they're thinking, and you really know what they're feeling and experiencing. But that's what you have when you have good friends, too. And so experience is very limited. Don't rely upon it. And that's why you'll see people who have been long-standing company people get upset when they've been passed over for someone who's younger that comes in, and the long-standing corporate guy will say, well, but I've got experience. I've got way more experience than this guy does over here. But the thing is, this younger guy over here is he can be molded, he can be taught, and he's flexible. He thinks outside the box. So you're not done. You're not finished. If let's say you are of age and watching this, you're not finished. It's just that you have to be willing to be flexible. You have to be willing to think outside the box, and you have to be teachable. There are people who are absolutely incorrigible. They just cannot be taught. You can't tell them anything. And so they can only tell you what they know based on what they've already seen, what they've already felt, and what they've already gone through. That's all they can tell you. And they call it experience, and they think that gives them more rights than you in several different ways. I don't have a lot more to say about it than that. I just really liked that particular passage. It's a myth of experience. Don't rely too much upon it. Rely upon wisdom. And that, I think, is one of the keys to happiness and peace. So there you have it, guys. I will let you go. I almost forgot to tighten down the cap in this bottle. Oil, but can you imagine spilling this in the car? My wife gets back in from getting her hair done, wonders what that smell is, and it smells good. Doesn't mean she wants it in the car. All right, I'm going to go back and check on her. I have my phone in airplane mode when I do this, and so I haven't been gone long, but nobody can call me now. You have to do that when you make these videos. You have to put it in airplane mode so you don't get alerts and phone calls and things like that. Not that anybody ever calls me, but you have to do that. Otherwise, you're going to get interrupted. And, man, my intro video for my YouTube channel, I say the very same thing in that video, too. And I was making the video for the same reason I'm making it now, because my wife was getting her hair done. All right, this is a much different video than I normally do, very light. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. I will catch you on the flip-flop. Have a great day. If you haven't liked it, like it, subscribe, and share it. Catch you guys later. Bye-bye.